Hello to all my loyal cinephiles out there. Jeffrey Michael here, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. It's actually the day before the 90th Oscars as I'm recording this. I'm so excited. The Oscars are coming, you guys. It's like my Super Bowl for the year. But that wasn't going to stop me from still recording movie reviews for you all, so you're welcome for that. In this video, I will be reviewing the movies that were released on February the 23rd, 2018. Okay, the first movie that I will review for you is Annihilation, rated R. It stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Tuva Novotny, and Oscar Isaac, and was written and directed by Alex Garland. He was the screenwriter for such films as 28 Days Later and Sunshine, and he was also the writer and director for the movie Ex Machina. Oh my god, I loved Ex Machina. If any of you have not seen Ex Machina, you all need to really see that movie. I highly recommend it. Now, Annihilation is based on the first book in a trilogy of books called the Southern Reach Trilogy, written by Jeff Vandermeer. And so the movie Annihilation opens a space object, an asteroid, we don't know what it is heading toward Earth. And it lands in, I would assume it's Florida. The movie doesn't really tell us because it's next to an ocean and the characters throughout the movie go through a swamp area. So we'll say it's Florida. The space object heads toward Florida and it hits a lighthouse on the coast. And from there, a giant force field with a rainbow shimmer spreads out in all directions from the lighthouse. And then it cuts to black. And then months go by, and we're introduced to our main character, Lena, a biologist played by Natalie Portman. And she's sad because her husband, Kane, played by Oscar Isaac, was in the military, and he went missing during a military mission nearly a year ago. And she doesn't know if he's dead or if he's ever coming back, and so she tries to go on with her life. And she's painting her house one day, and then out of nowhere, Kane just appears there in the doorway, and she's overcome with joy that he's back and he's alive. But then she finds out almost immediately, well, wait a minute, this isn't my husband, because she tries to ask him questions like, where have you been? What happened? Where have you been gone for so long? And he's all, I don't know. And he's like, just one-word answers, and she's all, this isn't the husband that I remember. And it comes to a head when he goes to take a sip of water, and a huge amount of blood comes out in the water, and she's like, oh, quick, we gotta get you to a hospital. And so they're in an ambulance on their way there, and then they're stopped. The ambulance is stopped by a government security force that rushes in and grabs Lena and Kane and takes them away to a secret government compound in Florida. And from there, Kane falls into a coma, and Lena is taken to the head psychologist, Dr. Ventress, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. It's there that Dr. Ventress explains to Lena and the audience that, she shows them outside the window of the compound. In the distance, you can see this giant force field with a rainbow shimmer. And she explains to her that months ago, a space object hit that lighthouse, and then this force field, with a rainbow shimmer, has been spreading out in all directions for miles, slowly, and it keeps going, and it's engulfing everything in its path. And in just months, it's going to engulf the compound where they are, and pretty soon maybe the whole world. And so they've been working quickly. They've sent in 11 separate expeditions of soldiers inside to find out, what's going on, what is this thing, and how can we stop it? But the problem is, almost every single soldier has not come back out alive. The only exception was Kane, who went in on the 11th expedition, and he's the only one survivor to come out. And he's now in a coma. So now Dr. Ventress is gathering a 12th expedition with three other girls, and Lena wants in because she wants to know what happened to her husband in there, and is there any way inside that can help him heal him. And so Dr. Ventress and Lena are joined by three other girls, Anya, Josie, and Cass, played respectively by Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, and Tuva Novotny. And once they enter, they find strange things begin to happen because they notice they enter the rainbow. They call it Area X, by the way, this whole area. And they also dub it the Shimmer because of the rainbow shimmer that the force field creates. So they enter the Shimmer, and almost immediately they're overcome by, oh, what happened? Because they enter, and all of a sudden she wakes up in a tent that they had pitched. And so they lost memory lapses for a couple of days, and that keeps happening. And they also discover all the plant and animal life inside the Shimmer has been altered, like DNA has been crossbred, and that's like not possible, at least on Earth here. And as they keep going in, stranger things start to happen, and more like questions are raised, and I'm not going to spoil too much more for you guys because you have to see it to believe it. Let me start off by saying Alex Garland, director. I mean, he is just a great writer-director. I mean, he created a visually stunning film, and he asked a lot of questions, about humanity and about stuff that happens to us. I will say though that I should say right away though, this movie is not for everyone. Yeah, it's one of those movies because either you will go in and you will love it, or afterwards you will hate it. I mean, there's not much middle ground to this kind of movie because a lot of things. Like there's a lot of stuff that happens that it's not really explained very well, or it's kind of muddled. And the ending and what happened, or the climax and the ending, are kind of, let's just say, not every question is going to be answered. So if you're the kind of person who likes to have all your questions answered by the end, you probably won't like this movie. And but it also is really well done, and the acting, by the way, from everybody is phenomenal. So the acting is not a problem at all. It's just that when you get to toward the end, things happen, and you're like, it's fascinating to watch, but it's also what the hell's happening? That happens quite a few times. What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened there? What just happened here? A lot of that happens. So I will say though, if you want to see this movie, for my grade, I would give it a B. But some of you, after seeing this movie, might say, give it a C or a D, or dare I say, an F. And that's okay though. I mean, I like these kind of movies because it's something original, and they try to do something different. I mean, I like movies that do that, take a risk. I mean, other than just another remake or another superhero movie, even though I like superhero movies. I mean, I always like to see, different stuff in movies, and so for that alone, I really appreciated this movie, and I really liked it for the acting and for the great visual effects. But I can understand though if people who like movies that answer questions wouldn't like it. So I recommend it, but I would say proceed at your own caution. So if you really want to see it, go ahead. But if you go out there, if you go to the movie and end up coming out saying like, "Why didn't Jeff warn us?" Well, I did. So go and see it, but don't say I didn't warn you now. Moving on. All right, the next film that I will review for you is Game Night, rated R. It stars Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams, and Kyle Chandler, and was directed by the directing team John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. They were the screenwriters for such films as Horrible Bosses and The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, and they were also the writers and directors for the National Lampoon's Vacation reboot. Ugh. So Game Night starts off. We're introduced to our main characters, Max, played by Jason Bateman, and Annie, played by Rachel McAdams. They're both very competitive people. In the opening scene, they're at a bar during trivia night, and they meet and see how competitive each other are, and how much they know about trivia, and they just look each other's eyes and fall madly in love with each other. Just, I love you. And so they quickly become a couple. And just how competitive are they, you ask? Well, as a couple, they hosted a game night with their friends every week, and he proposed to her during game night, and they even had their wedding during a game night. So they're just one cute, competitive couple, aren't they? And that's all during the opening scene, the opening credits. And so the movie starts off as they're now a serious couple, they're married, and they now want to have a baby together, but they're having trouble conceiving. And so the doctor tells them that sometimes, a lot of stress in your life can lead to, infertility, and they wonder if their hugely competitive nature is adding to all that stress. So should they cool it on game night? No, we can just, do it, just less excitement. And so they are playing another game night as usual, their usual week. And so they come home, and there's this funny subplot that involves their next door neighbor, Gary, who's a police officer. He's kind of a creeper of a neighbor. He's always holds his dog, and he's stroking his dog while talking to them. So, game night's fun, isn't it? It's so much fun always. And he's always talking just like that. And they was used to go to their game nights. The couple, Max and Annie, were friends with Debbie, his ex-wife. She always brought him along, and they put up with him. But ever since they divorced and Debbie's no longer in the picture, he still wants to be part of game night. But like, I don't know if I want to have game nights with this guy. And that comes into play later. It's a funny subplot. And so we're introduced to Max's older brother, Brooks, played by Kyle Chandler. And he is much more successful brother, and Max, feels inadequate and jealous of him. Although we, the audience, find out that Max, makes his wealth from buying and selling on the black market. Ooh, illicit stuff. And so Brooks thinks their game nights are too boring. Come on, I'm going to have the ultimate game night for you guys. Come to my house next week. So next week they're at his mansion, and he explains to them, time for the ultimate game, everyone. we're going to be having an interactive role-playing mystery game. I've hired a company who has actors come out, and they're going to play like robbers and FBI agents, and you're not going to know what's fake or what's real, and you just got to go along with it. And the prize for the winning team is going to win my Corvette Stingray. Your Corvette Stingray, that's your prized possession. You want to give that up? That's how serious I am about this game night. And they're all in and ready to play. And so an actor comes in, an FBI agent, an actor playing an FBI agent, who gives them their envelope saying, here's your first clue. Good luck to you all. The FBI is counting on you. And all of a sudden, just then, two masked robbers, these are real masked robbers coming at that moment, great coincidence. And Kyle immediately recognizes them as guys he's dealt with in the past. And he's all aghast. Guys, this isn't fake. This is real. And they're throwing punches. They're breaking stuff, and they're knocking them out. There's blood. And everyone's all just, sitting at the table. Hey, guys, you tried this cheese platter? It's delicious. Oh, munching cheese, watching the whole thing happen. It's funny. It's hysterical. And they take, Brooks away, gagged, and he's all, help me. And they're like, wow, he's really good. They take this seriously, these actors. And so the first half of the film, they think it's all, just a ruse, and they're all playing along, and they're all like, this is the best game night ever. Until about halfway through, they realize, that the gun that was playing was real, and she fires it, bang, it's real? You mean this is all, I hate game night. Oh my God. And from there, mayhem ensues, and more comedy and great, and can I just start by saying with this review that I was actually skeptical, by the trailer and by the directors. I mean, they did that Vacation reboot, which I thought was just crap. It was terrible. And so I thought this is going to be another, a crap film. But I was actually pleasantly surprised. I actually found this genuinely funny comedy movie, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's got a sharp script, and it's got clever direction, and a game cast, no pun intended. I mean, everyone plays their part wonderfully. Especially that police officer Gary, played wonderfully by Jesse Plemons. I mean, he really does the creep-tastic great. And yeah, I mean, it's great comedy fun, if it's lighthearted comedy. But I will say, though, since it's R-rated, there is a bit of blood that happens. So if you're squeamish about blood, there you go. So I warned you. And also, there are times when the plot, goes a little, stretches plausibility, goes a little ludicrous at times. But that's okay. It only happens a couple times, and it's one of those turn your brain off comedies anyway, so that's what I did, and I just enjoyed myself thoroughly for 100 minutes straight, and it was a good 100 minutes to, spend otherwise. And overall, I think I would give this film a B, a nice solid B. Yes, it was a really funny movie, and I laughed, and it was really clever, and I think you all have a good time too. So if you want to see a great comedy, I would highly recommend this one, you guys, so go and see it, and it might make you want to miss game night, but it's worth it. Moving on. So the final film that I will review for you is Every Day, rated PG-13. It stars Angourie Rice, Maria Bello, and Justice Smith, and was directed by Michael Soucy, who brought you the romantic film The Vow. So Every Day is based on the novel by David Levithan. By the way, I've read novels by David Levithan, and he's a great writer, so I recommend his books. So Every Day has a very complicated plot, so I'll try my best to explain it. Our main protagonist is A. Who A is, even A doesn't really know. A is a wandering spirit who travels inhabits a different body every single day of A's life. How it works is A wakes up in a new body, and has access to that body and the person's memories, and then tries to live that person's life as normally as possible, not to disrupt their life. And then at midnight, the A is pushed out of that body and enters a brand new body close by. And it's always a body that's slightly older than A, so A ages naturally like everybody else. As A is currently like a teenager, since A is inhabiting a bunch of teenage bodies, and A also never inhabits the same body twice, so it's a lonely life because you're in one body, then you're in the next body, the next day in another body, and then you're have so many different lives every day of your life. It's like, wow, kind of lonely and isolated. So the movie starts off. A inhabits a brand new body, a biracial teenager named Justin, and Justin is a neglectful boyfriend of Rhiannon, played by Angourie Rice. And Rhiannon, she's the typical, brunette, white girl teenager, which is pretty common in these teenage romance novels, aren't they? Anyway, Justin, or A rather, as Justin, meets Rihanna, his girlfriend, and he's fascinated by her. I mean, he has feelings for her that A never realized that A had before. And so A wants to know her more, so he, as Justin, takes Rhiannon out for a day together. Even she's wondering, because he's been a neglectful boyfriend, why is he suddenly being so nice and romantic to me? They spend a day at the aquarium and on the beach, and they kiss, and she falls in love with him again. Until the next day when she goes to tell Justin, I had a great day yesterday. He's like, what are you talking about? Because, A's no longer there. It's Justin again, and he's not a great boyfriend. She wonders, well, what happened? She doesn't understand. And then she meets a new girl there named Amy, and Amy wants to know all about, her relationship yesterday with Justin. How do you know Justin? I just met you. And we find out, oh, A's there inside Amy's body now. And then she doesn't understand why. And then the next day after that, a new boy named Nathan approaches her. Hey, it's me again, Justin, Amy. She's like, what's going on here? This is all some elaborate prank. And then A eventually explains the whole story to her. And she's wondering, wow, how's that possible? And then she, as she gets to know A through all these different bodies every day, she starts to have feelings for A as well. And so they wonder if they start to have a relationship. Every day she meets a brand new body and she falls in love with it, whether it's a male or female. She makes out with both of them. and A, throughout the movie goes through many bodies. Sometimes he's a skinny black guy, and then an Asian girl, and then one day a trans man, and then another black girl, and then a white girl, and then a bunch of white boys. That's her favorite. And you wonder if this relationship, but we all know, probably is not, doomed to go, is doomed to fail long term. But overall, this movie, I have to say, it was pretty romantic and pretty well done for the most part. I mean, I love the book, by the way, and the movie has such great, it's heartwarming, and it's, funny, and it's also heartbreaking, and it's acted very well. And also it has so many great messages about empathy and acceptance and loving your body because it's the only one you've got, and how, we fall in love not with our bodies but with our souls. It's a soul connection that we share when we fall in love, and it doesn't matter what body it is. I mean, that's a great message, for humanity in general to understand. I do wish, though, that there comes times where the storytelling was kind of shallow. I wish they'd spent more time, discussing the the depth that this book brings to the, light about humanity and their bodies. And also, it's a little short. It's only 90 minutes long. I was hoping it'd be like 10, 15, 20 minutes longer to give a little extra meat, from the book, and, and focus a little bit more on the messages that this movie brings, because they're really nice and well done and really important for us. Overall, I have to give this movie, though, a C+. I mean, I really liked it, but also had its, serious flaws, and so kind of shame, because I really liked the book, and the movie could have been better, I think. And if you want to see a nice, teenage romance film, then go ahead and see this. It's a nice, refreshing movie. Just don't expect the best movie ever. I mean, it's a great, important message movie about, loving your body, and that's an important, and how love, transcends, that, and it's all about the soul connection. And yeah, so go ahead, everyone, see it, and I recommend it. And the Oscar for Best Movie Review Host goes to Jeffrey Michael. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh. I'm just kidding there. Recap, everyone. Annihilation. B. A visually stunning psychological thriller from Alex Garland that leaves more than a few questions unanswered. So I liked it, but you might not, so proceed with caution. Game Night. B. Surprisingly entertaining, funny, great comedy with a game cast. I highly recommend this one. An Everyday. C+. Nice teenage romance film based on a great book with great messages that could have been better. I kind of recommend it, and I kind of don't. Yeah. And that'll do it for another fun-filled edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. Until next time, happy movie watching, everybody, and have fun watching the Oscars tomorrow. I know I will.